Greetings and welcome to World Hypnotism Day headquarters here in Plainfield, Illinois tonight. Um, Before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about me first. I, I thought long and hard today about the story I wanted to tell today. I wanted to leave with a story. Stories are so powerful. And I just kept, running stuff over in my mind and then I thought to myself, it's like we're always looking for stories to tell, somebody else's story. How often do we tell our own stories? You know? And me being the introvert that I am, I never tell my story. So it's going to be a rare treat for you tonight. You're going to get just a little piece of that story. Okay? How I ended up where I am now as a certified hypnotist, helping people with issues that I'm doing something I never in a million years thought I would be doing right now. So my story, once upon a time, in a land far, far away, no, actually, starting with a young Black child born in Chicago on the South Side in the projects. For those of you who don't know what the projects are, that's public housing, mostly high rises. Mine was a 16-story model. Grew up in the city, grew up with a, basic public school education that actually kind of sucked, but, it was what it was. You know, Went through the motions, lived with all the stereotypes of people growing up under situations such as mine, growing up in the ghettos and the projects and not amounting to anything, blah, blah, blah. I grew up hearing these stories, hearing these tales about who I was supposed to be, who I was supposed to grow up and be. And I continue to grow, I continue to learn, and I learned to look outside of my surroundings and my circumstances and stretch myself and my brain to different places and different activities. So that little girl from the projects eventually moved on, finished high school, went to college, did construction work, you name it, I did it. I was trying to find myself because I didn't grow up with a plan. I didn't grow up with a game plan. It's like, this is what I'm going to, what you're going to do. You're going to go to school, go to college, get that great job, blah, blah, blah. I didn't grow up with a game plan. I sort of played it by ear, as it went along. And I think it worked out pretty damn good, actually. And, in the end, from my start, like I said, I did construction work for most of my life. I worked with my hands, physical type labor work. So, wouldn't have thought I'd be doing this, but I wrote my own story. I discovered the types of things that I enjoy doing. I enjoy working with. I worked in an office. It sucked. I get to work out in the field on top of a roof. I loved it, So I got to find me, from those humble beginnings to where I am now. Not like I'm, where I want to be. I'm still on that journey. But from that start, I had to learn. I had to discover for myself how my story was going to unfold. And I find that story is still unfolding more and more each and every day, every moment, as a matter of fact. And I just, want to tell that little bit of the story just to remind all of us to tell our own stories, create our own stories, because every day that's what we're doing. The activities that you do today, what you're doing right now, it's helping to create your story. This is a part of my story that's been in the making for quite some time, because I've been a hypnotist for close to 8 or 9 years now. And this is my very first presentation online like this. And earlier, well, not this year, seeing how it's 2023, but last year, I gave my first presentation at a major hypnosis conference. So I'm still creating my story. And I already have 2 speaking engagements at hypnosis conferences for this year. So my story is still unfolding. So as I said before, I share that with you just to let you know that I don't know how the hell I got here, from where I started out. I've just always been one to experiment, to want to try something new, do something different my entire life. And that's what I've done. And it's led me to where I am right now, to a place where I'm able to use what I have learned to actually truly help people. To not sit behind a desk pushing papers all day, but to see people come and sit down with me and actually leave my office changed, or actually, get off of that Zoom presentation or session changed. And that's important to me. Even when I did construction work, I still drive by buildings now, and it's like, hey, I helped build that. I helped build that. And I'm the same way with my clients. I don't point them out in public, but inside it just lets me know that it's like I was able to actually help that person. And that's what it's all about for me. That's what hypnosis is all about. That's why we have this holiday once a year, to help people to understand that hypnosis is helping. Okay, and we're going to go into how we do that, in a little bit. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. And like I said, welcome again. And if, in case you didn't hear, I am Brenda Gray. I've been doing this for 7-8 years, and I'm very passionate about it, and I love it. Okay. And I just wanted to start off tonight by playing a couple games with you if you want to participate with me. Nothing fancy or, too exerting. Just a little something, little fun parts of hypnosis that I enjoy. So you guys want to play along?
Yes.
Shake your heads.
Yes.
All right. Okay, cool. Karen, shake your head. Okay. All right. I know. I'm talking to our picture. I know she's listening in. So, okay, what we're going to do, I want you to, are your hands free? Can you use your hands? Everybody, both your hands? All right, cool. All right, take your hands, put them together like this first. Now, intertwine your fingers like that. No, like that. Fingers in. There you go. Okay, cool. Now, take the index fingers and stand them up like little soldiers, like that. Got it? Okay, cool. Now, what I want you to do, this is a game all about imagination, okay? I want you to use your imagination as vividly as you can and imagine that in the tips of each one of your fingers is a little bitty teeny tiny magnet. And those magnets are opposites. I'm sorry, they're not opposites. But anyway, those magnets are being attracted toward each other. Just imagine each side has a magnet, and just feel, don't do anything, just watch. And as you look at it, think about that magnet more and more. Think about it as hard as you can. And notice your fingers just naturally wanting to come together, because your mind said there's a magnet in there. And that magnet's getting stronger. The pull is getting even stronger now. Just imagine that magnet just got 50% bigger. So that means that the pull is even harder now. It's even stronger now. The pull is 75 times more now. So intensely tight now. You just can't help it. But watch that magnet pull your fingers together. Okay, now who has fingers that are touching because of those powerful magnets? Raise your finger. Okay. All right, good. Did that pretty much everybody notice those magnets that, aren't really there appearing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sure. Shirley, how'd that go for you? Turn on your mic. Yeah, see. Come on, you can do this. Turn on the mic. While she's trying to figure out. Okay, there we go, Shirley. So how'd that go for you?
I kept trying to put
Still can't
them
hear you.
apart, and
We still can't hear you.
I kept trying to keep them apart. You can't hear me. My mic
There
is
you
on.
are.
You gotta turn it on your end.
Oh, you're on now. You're up now. Okay, now.
Okay, see, y'all gotta turn it on. I kept trying to keep them apart, but they kept getting closer and closer.
Okay.
It was weird.
Anybody else have that problem trying to resist? Heather, perhaps? Okay. All right, yeah, trying to keep it apart, trying to go contrary to what your subconscious mind believes is not an easy thing to do. Because when we tell ourselves, it's like, hey, those fingers are going to go together, they believe that there's really little magnets in there. Isn't that cool? I mean, just think about it. We can create with our subconscious minds. And just that one little finger trick, that one little game goes to show you just how powerful that subconscious can be. I'm not going to go through a lot of little, other exercises like that because you get my point. And I'm going to be different. My presentation is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to tell you what I want you to hear and hope that it's what you need to hear. Okay. So on our agenda today, I'm going to share my screen here in a second, and we're going to do a brief slideshow, and I'm going to be discussing some things. And if you have any questions, my able assistant and co-host will be keeping track of the chat room. So if you have any questions, place them in the chat room, and I will get to them as quickly as I can. If they pertain to what I'm talking about right then, she'll let me know, and we can get your questions answered. Is that cool? All right, great. All right, so getting started here. As I said, this is my first time, so if the presentation gets screwed up, that's why. All right. Okay. Here to celebrate World Hypnotism Day, which we are all aware. And here's our agenda for today. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go inside the magic. And when I say the magic, because I always tell people hypnosis is not magic, but what hypnosis is magical. And I'll explain that later. And we're also going to cover everything is hypnosis. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And yeah, that'll be interesting too. And I'll do a very, very brief history of hypnosis because we all know we don't need a lot of history. So, and next we'll be talking about who's in charge. And when I say who's in charge, I don't mean your wife, or your husband, or your teenage daughters or 2-year-olds, but who's actually in charge of you. Okay. And then we'll sort of discuss how to harness that power and how we can reap the benefits of that. Okay. All right. First of all, what is hypnosis? That's the big question. The question I get asked so many times. As soon as they discover my hypnosis, what's hypnosis? How does it work? Hypnosis is pretty much everything we just did, everything we always do. The finger thing we just did when you're watching a movie. Okay, let me explain. Okay, right now, I'm gonna tell you another story. This is a story of hypnosis that actually happened to me, a type of self-hypnosis. Okay, a couple months ago, I'm watching TV, and all of a sudden, my wife comes and surprises me with this concert coming on television that an artist that I really, really enjoy, Elton John. So I'm like, oh, cool, so I perk up and it's like I jump in front of the tube and I'm watching this concert for like 2 hours and I'm just like really into it, and it's like, wow, I haven't heard this song in 100 years, and I haven't heard that song. And it's like, oh, the costumes. And I was just like in this serious trance, right? For just like the entire 2 hours of the concert. And the concert finally came to an end. I'm like, okay, cool. That was so nice. And the concert ended. We turned the channel and I went back to my life. For that brief 2 hours, I was in a trance. I was in hypnosis. That's how simple hypnosis is. That's what hypnosis is. When you're daydreaming at your desk and supposed to be working, or when you're driving, if you live in Illinois, you're driving down an Illinois highway, you can fall asleep because it's so flat, and you go into this sort of highway hypnosis, and you can look up and you've gone 10, 20 miles, and it's like, what the hell just happened? You were in hypnosis. when you go to bed at night, right before you drift off to sleep, you're in that sweet spot, where somebody's trying to talk to you and you're really ignoring them because you don't want to hear it because you're almost there. That sweet spot, that's hypnosis. Okay, and that's where the magic happens. That's where the change happens. Hypnosis goes back, way back to the days of Greek mythology. They had what were called Greek sleep temples. And it was believed that if you went to these sleep temples and went through the rituals, that you would be healed. Basically, all of these people were doing is they were going to these temples. They would go through a ritual. There were people that were considered, I guess, holy people, the keepers of the temple. And people would go there with the belief that they would be healed. So they would go to these temples, go through the rituals, lay on these slabs, go into a deep sleep. Maybe, I don't know if they took herbs or anything like that to get into a trance-like state. But when they left these sleep temples, some of them were healed. And why were they healed? Because they believed that they would be healed. They believed that these sleep temples would heal them. Just like the belief that if we have magnets in our fingers, they're going to stick together. So no matter how simple or how complicated the process, the subconscious mind is going to work the same way. People ask me all the time about the safety of hypnosis. That's always a big one. Am I going to get stuck in hypnosis? Am I going to tell you all my secrets in hypnosis? And the answer to that is no and no. Because first of all, you can't get stuck in a state of mind like that. Okay. And if I had control over people, I would really use that control for more lucrative purposes, like not working for a living, things like that. So when you explain to people that, it's not mind control and they understand and they actually, take it as it actually is. They understand that it's not magic, it's safe, it's not sleep, you're not going to sleep. You're always in control. It's like being in a daydream. When you're ready to come out of it, what do? You open your eyes. If you're in hypnosis and you don't want to be there anymore, you can simply open your eyes. Yes, it does work that simply. And the pocket watches, we really don't use those much anymore, just for show. And, you have people come into the office, they expect the pocket watch, the floating disc and things like that. And some practitioners might still use stuff like that for entertainment or for props, but it's not a part of the process. It's not a necessity of the process. Okay. Let's see, what do we have next here? Oh, one of my favorite parts. Who's really in control? You like those pictures of those old floppy disks up there on the computers? Some of you remember what those are. There were computers that those actually used to fit into, if there's anybody under 30 online, But when I ask who's really in control, our conscious mind versus our unconscious mind or subconscious mind. What is our conscious mind? Our conscious mind is what we brought to this meeting with us tonight, is what made the choice to join this webinar and to come online. It's our active decision-making process, those things that are on the surface, things like what you're going to have for lunch today or dinner tonight. We consciously come up with these suggestions for ourselves. And that's how we go about life every day. And that conscious part of our mind is actually only about 10 to 12% of our actual brain function, okay? Just that little part, actually, 10 maybe 12%. We consciously think we're making decisions that affect our lives all day long, and actually we aren't. That's where the unconscious or subconscious mind comes in. So I decided to use this analogy with the computer and the storage devices because it's something that everybody's pretty much familiar with. It's something that I've sort of grown up around against my will sometimes. But think about how a computer works. If you buy a new computer, well, you used to be able to buy a new computer, and it wouldn't come with any programs on it. It would be pretty much naked, and you could do whatever you want with it, okay? So you buy this new computer, it's naked, free for whatever you want to put on it. So, and then you go out and you decide to put some programs on that computer. You can put whatever programs on there you want. You can put programs that are good for you on there. You can put bootleg programs on there. You can put illegal programs on it because they're all your programs. And once you put them on there, they're yours. Okay? Think about the mind. When we're first born, when we're little kids, when we're babies practically, we're like a sponge. We're born into this world not knowing anything. Everything we learn becomes a part of our subconscious or unconscious mind. We're like that computer tower sitting there. We come in with an empty slate. And as we get older, we learn from our parents, from our siblings, from whoever we happen to grow up around. And as we learn, our computer program begins to get more and more full. And we have a full set of programs. So by the time we're 2 or 3, we've got these programs. We've been seeing other people do this walking thing, and it's like the standing upright thing. And they learn. And the next thing you know, they're walking and then they're running. And then they get to the point where they're old enough to start creating some of their own programs. So that's more programming going into the system, And at a certain point, you think it would fill up. But guess what? It doesn't. It just keeps learning. So we've got all these programs, the good programs and the bad programs, and they're going to keep running because consciously, when we go to make a move to do something, we're calling on information that is stored in our computer. When I have to brush my teeth every morning, when I go to the bathroom, I don't have to pick up my toothbrush and look at it and try to remember, how did I brush my teeth yesterday? This isn't something new, okay? This is something that's been stored for so long that when I get up, and it's like I'm on autopilot, okay? I go in, I pick this up, and we're all that way. We're on autopilot because we have these programs already programmed inside us. Our computer, our subconscious mind. And excuse me. So we don't have to relearn each and every day. Okay, so that's when I say who's really in control. We're not really in control of what we do. We're in control of what we say. That's why we get ourselves in so much trouble sometimes. But as opposed to what we actually do, our unconscious mind is sort of in control. That's why people have addictions and habits like smoking and overeating, even though we know that smoking is dangerous, even though we know that overeating causes illness and is dangerous, we still do it because our subconscious mind has been programmed to smoke and enjoy it. And as long as that program in there says, I'm enjoying this cigarette or I'm enjoying this cigar or whatever, your body's going to keep on, your conscious mind is going to keep on doing what the unconscious mind told it to do. So guess who's in charge? Fortunately, hypnosis provides a way for us to sort of communicate with our unconscious mind. When you can distract the conscious mind, you can sneak into the unconscious and sort of create new programs, sort of take old habits and make them a little bit healthier. I mean, the simple exercise we did at the beginning today, shows you that with just the power of your subconscious mind, you were able to stick your fingers together. And you know that you don't really have magnets in your fingers, but for some reason, they went together against your will. That's because the subconscious mind is so much more powerful, and it cannot distinguish between reality and fiction. So when we actually learn something and it becomes a part of our unconscious mind, in the same way, we can visualize or imagine learning something and sometimes still get that same benefit. So now we know who's really in control. Let's talk about some ways to harness that power. I'm not dwelling time here. Okay, good. Okay, excuse me. Some of the ways of harnessing that power: hypnosis, self-hypnosis. Hypnosis, as I said, is something that we do every day, all day. And sometimes we can do self-hypnosis where we can help ourselves change habits. And other times we need the help of someone else, and that's okay. And even as hypnotists, sometimes, it's like we do self-hypnosis. We teach our clients self-hypnosis. So it's not something that we, corner the market on. Okay. And there's so many ways of reaching that state that don't really involve hypnosis. I'm sure you've all probably heard of visualizations. What's the other one? Mindfulness. Any exercise where you can work to relax your conscious mind and allow your subconscious to take over. Okay, that's sometimes called guided imagery, and at the end of this program, we're going to go through one of those processes, and you'll get to test your powers of imagination and just see how much power that you actually have. One of the other questions that people are always asking is, what is hypnosis good for? Well, you could ask yourself, what do you want to change? What problem do you want to solve? Hypnosis can be for personal use. And one of the questions I really get asked that I don't like is, can I use hypnosis to get somebody else to do something for me? A lot of wives want their husbands to change. A lot of husbands want their wives to change. I've had men ask me if I could make their wives have sex with them more often, and had wives to ask if they could make their husbands leave them alone. So it can, and it's like the answer to that is no, because I cannot do hypnosis for you, for someone else, unless they ask. Okay, so there's that control thing again. It's for self-improvement, but with consent. I cannot make someone quit smoking if their partner or friend brings them in against their will. There are times when we have to turn away clients because a lot of them have the idea that hypnosis is something that we do to them, and then all of their problems will magically disappear. But in truth, hypnosis is something that you do to yourself. All we are tour guides, basically. Okay, we cannot make you come into our offices, first of all. We cannot make you change. I have actually had to fire clients before because they expected too much of me. It's like, well, I actually had a client come in and say, it's like, okay, once you hypnotize me, all I have to do is wait, and all this weight is going to drop off, right? Yeah, so you know how that conversation ended. But people have are under the assumption sometimes that the hypnotist is this magical, mystical person who can, heal all things. When in truth, we as individuals are that mystical, magical person that can heal all things, not all things, but that can help with things like certain physical discomforts or habits, And what is a habit? A habit is basically something that we just learned and do all the time. And a lot of times, habits get confused with addictions because a lot of smokers will say, I'm addicted to nicotine. You know, I smoked for 50 years. I'm just addicted. And if you look up the definition of what a true addiction is and compare that to a habit, you can clearly see that an addiction, overcoming an addiction, you're going to go through withdrawals and there will be physical symptoms, physiological symptoms of that trauma as you go through that withdrawal. Okay. Things like smoking, once you stop smoking, you're not gonna have not hot, what do they call them? Sweats. The hot, no, when you're going through alcohol withdrawal, that's it. Yeah, withdrawal symptoms. You know, do you go through withdrawal symptoms as if you had been on a cocaine, high or something like that? The signs of addiction are just not there. Okay. There's so many things we do habitually because it's so easy to create a habit. And once we create that habit, it's so much easier to just hold on to that habit. Okay. Because our subconscious mind, like I said, it's a sponge. It gets the information in. It's a part of who we are. Everything that we've learned, some total of our collective knowledge is somewhere in our subconscious mind in those areas of the brain that haven't even been mapped yet, I'm sure, or at least that's my opinion. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Janelle says it's helpful to know that habits get confused with addiction. With addiction.
Okay.
Addiction.
Okay, thank you. Janelle commented on the habit versus addiction. Thank you. Because, yeah, I myself had that same problem years ago. I would always say, I used to smoke cigarettes, and I'm like, I'm addicted to nicotine. I thought it was an addiction until I stepped back and looked at what a true addiction was, or what a true addiction is or can be. So that's very, very important. And when I say consistency is a catalyst for success, creating change through hypnosis or through anything else in life, it takes consistency. You can't just wake up and, decide, okay, I'm going to make a change today. I'm going to do A, B, and C. All right, I'm done. And then sit back and wait for stuff to happen, wait for things to change. Even with hypnosis, I mean, some things, maybe you can cure it one session, but hypnosis is almost, or for me at least, it's a lifestyle, it's a process. Everything I do is hypnosis. I go through a certain process now, I think, to do everything. And I found that not being consistent in that process just sort of breaks that chain. It's like starting a race and not finishing it. Now, I also promised you today that we were going to do a process. One second. Let me turn this off so that we stop that. Okay, there. Okay, now we can see each other better. Hi, welcome new people to the meeting. Thank you for showing up. You just missed my great opener, but that's quite all right. Thank you for joining anyway. Okay.
Hi, Mommy.
All right, so let's see. We've talked about a little bit about the history of hypnosis. We talked welcome my grandson to the meeting for our live entertainment. We've talked about everyday hypnosis, highway hypnosis, daydreaming. We talked about getting caught up in concerts and movies and how these are all parts of hypnosis. Okay. Before I go on, are there any questions or comments or anything anybody wants to add? No? Okay. All right, cool. All right then, moving forward. I'm personal, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes, I am looking at my notes. I did make notes so I wouldn't just ramble on about everything because I could talk about hypnosis nonstop in how it relates to every aspect of my life. I told you I'd be doing a couple of hypnosis conferences coming up soon. The title of one of those conferences is Parallel Universes, and it talks about hypnosis and martial arts, two of my passions. And I discovered that everything that I've learned in hypnosis parallels everything that I've learned in the martial arts, from how I've learned to do the martial arts to how I practice to how I've advanced. Because, like I said, everything is hypnosis, you know, and I am rather new in the field as far as hypnotists are concerned because there's some hypnotists who've been doing this a lot longer than I have, and I've developed my way of doing hypnosis, which is what all hypnotists do. But I've learned that to share hypnosis, especially in this day and age, you have to come at it from a slightly different angle. And that's what I'm trying to do with this presentation and presentations to come. That's why I came up with titles like, hypnosis and martial arts, two things that totally don't go together, or at least we don't think they do. But when you think about it, they both start out the same way. You start out with a problem. What do you want to do? What do you want to solve? Okay, I have a problem now. What resources do I need to solve this problem? Whether it's in life or whether it's in martial arts, and how are these resources going to help me? And this process just sort of starts to snowball into a solution. Isn't that cool? And whether it's martial arts or hypnosis or whatever it is you do in your trade, in your school, in your life, you can always apply these same principles to any area of your life. Okay. So let's see. Pardon me? Okay. All right. So I'm going to start, I think. I had said I was going to share with you a process today. And basically, this is going to be a process where you get to use your imaginations. Okay. There's no way to do it right or wrong. Just like with hypnosis, can't do it wrong. I've had people, am I doing it right? Like, are you still breathing, sitting there on the chair talking to me? Yeah, then you're doing it right, That's the great thing about hypnosis. There is no wrong way. There is no right way. Okay. I'm not going to share that quote with you, but it's a quote that a lot of hypnotists use basically about, things being made up. But yeah, I think about life. Everything is all made up, right? So yeah, same process here. You get to decide. I'm gonna teach you, I'm gonna share with you this process. And as I said, all I want you to do is to use your imagination. And I want you to just try to make it as vivid as you can. And after the process, we'll have a little talk. How's that? All right, good. Okay, now first of all, I just want you all to make sure you're someplace comfortable. Someplace where you can, you're not on the edge of a chair where you might fall off or anything, okay? Because I'm not responsible for injuries on Zoom calls, okay? Have to come to my office where I'm insured, okay? All right. Okay, now once you get comfortable, this is a process you can do with eyes closed or eyes open. It's up to you. But if you want to rest your eyes, I invite you to just allow your eyes to close. And with your eyes closed, just breathe normally and allow yourself to relax in whatever chair or surface you're sitting on right now. That's right, you're doing great. Now, as you relax on that chair or that surface, I want you to just focus on your breathing right now. It's something we sort of forget to do sometimes, you know? We're so busy going about every day. We forget to just stop and breathe and enjoy that breath. So just enjoy a couple of nice, long, deep breaths. Notice how good it feels. Now, as you're taking those deep breaths, I'm going to take on a little trip with me. Okay, now that trip, it's a safe trip. It's a beautiful trip. I think you're all going to really enjoy it, actually. But to go on this trip, first we have to go down a very short staircase. There are only 5 steps. It's a very well lit, safe staircase. So just imagine a very safe and well lit staircase when we get ready to go. So as you're focusing on your breathing now, just allow yourself to leave behind any disturbances or troubles of the day, any stress, anything that happened. Just forget about it. Just leave it all behind right now. As you close your eyes and allow yourself to relax and start this journey with me. Okay. Now I want you to start visualizing right now. Open up your imagination and just imagine a safe, well-lit staircase. It can be made of whatever you want. They could be wooden stairs, they could be concrete stairs, but they're safe. And there's only 5. So we're gonna open the door. There's a white door. Open that white door now. And we're gonna start going down that staircase. We all have 5 steps. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, now there's another door. I want you to open that door. And as you open that door, you see a beautiful outdoor paradise. And there's a path laid out right before you. It's a gravel path. Looks very inviting and safe. So you decide to follow this path. And you step out and you look to your left, you look to your right, and you notice the perfect weather, the warmth of the sun. You can feel it as you turn your face up toward the sky. Just imagine feeling that warmth on your face and a gentle breeze. Feel the hairs on your arm as they tingle, as the breeze just blows gently by. As you slowly start to walk down this path that's set before you. And as you continue down the path, slowly observing, taking in everything around you because it's such a beautiful day. You notice there are flowers on one side, and you get a faint whiff of those fresh flowers and the scent of freshly cut grass from a field nearby. Oh, look, the colors. What color are the flowers that you see? Do you see reds, purples, blues? What about the grass? Is it a dark green or is it kind of weathered? As you stay on this path, you're just really enjoying this beautiful day because you deserve it. You needed this time off, this mini break. And as you continue walking along the path, you finally come to a small opening. And in that opening is a small pond. It's a very still, clean, quiet pond. So you get closer to the pond and enjoying the beauty, and you can't help but resist the urge to pick up a small pebble. So you pick up the small pebble, you throw it in the middle of the pond, plink, lands right in the center. And as it lands in the center, you notice how it disturbs the water in the pond. the water started to ripple outwards from the center, right where that pebble hit. And it rippled outwards all the way towards the edges of the pond. And as it got further and further away from the center, the ripples became smaller and smaller until finally there were no ripples at all. And the pond once again became still. Now, just for a moment, I want you to pretend that that pebble and that pond are issues that are bothering you. That pond is your subconscious or conscious mind, and that pebble is being thrown right into the heart of everything that's happening right now. And imagine knowing that everything that results from that point of impact is going to eventually fade away. Any anxiety or any stress, any impact that causes that major disturbance, over time, those ripples just get weaker and weaker. So you stand, you grab another pebble, you throw it in the water, and you notice the same thing happens again. It makes an impact, but that impact slowly and gradually recedes. So after enjoying the pond, you stand and you turn to walk back toward the path. And you look back at the pond and you notice, what have I learned here? If I can disturb this beautiful pond and then it can come right back to the state of calm, maybe just perhaps I can do the same thing. So you continue walking along the path now, walking back toward the door. And you notice just how calm and content you are right now. You still notice the beautiful flowers and the scents all around you. And you get closer and closer to your door now. And you start to notice a bright light. As you're walking down this path, and you can appreciate even more now all the vibrant colors of the flowers and the grass and the stillness of the pond. And as you get closer and closer to the door, you notice a beautiful bright light emanating from that door right now. So as you walk toward the door, taking last one look behind you, you step into the door and you notice a beautiful white light. And you allow that light to envelop you and to energize you. And you allow that energy to permeate every cell of your body as you allow yourself to accept all the beauty that's around you. You allow yourself to be able to deal with the stresses of life, knowing that over time, that those ripples will eventually fade. You allow yourself to enjoy this deep and relaxing and refreshing moment, knowing that you can relax anytime you choose, just like this, all by yourself, by just making the choice to go inside your mind and visualize or imagine, see, hear, feel, touch, taste with your mind, and notice just how good it feels. In a moment, I'm going to bring you back from this little mini vacation, but I want you to come back with a sense of exhilaration, a sense of relaxation, a new energy, with the knowledge that you can take yourself to this place anytime you want. So I'm going to count starting at 1, 2, and 3. Now come back from vacation, open your eyes, and take a nice relaxing breath. Take a stretch if you need to. And share with me, how was your little mini vacation? You can turn your mics on. I think you can turn your mics on yourselves if need be. I want to hear some stories. How'd you feel? Barb, I see your mic's on.
I actually was really
Can't hear you.
relaxed.
I'm sorry,
Can't-
say it again.
I said I was really relaxed. So,
Good.
so
Okay.
thank you.
Sure.
It was nice.
Okay. I think this is something you'll continue to practice when you need that 5-minute timeout or that half-hour timeout,
I do.
Good. Yeah, and it can be any place you want to go. You can go someplace you've been before that you really enjoyed, or you can create some place with unicorns and stuff like that where you can go. You can create whatever paradise or dungeon or whatever you're into and take yourself there on that mini vacation for free.
I like that.
All right, thanks. Who else wanted to comment? Jean.
You got to put a caution label on that because we're like in this such relaxed zone. I almost forgot to open my eyes and come back to the meeting. That's almost traumatizing.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you came back. though.
Yeah, I open my eyes. I'm like, what did I miss?
And you know what, Jean? If you want to do that and you don't necessarily want to get that relaxed or go to sleep, you don't have to. If you just want to go into that state just to say, relieve a little stress, it's like, okay, somebody just pissed me off. So I just need 5 minutes, time out. You can still go to that place and you can be alert and awake and still come back feeling good. Okay. It's whatever you tell yourself you want while you're in that state. If you go to that
my
state,
voice wouldn't put me there, but your voice is that kind of voice.
no,
that
but
puts
you're
you
not
there.
talking. Well,
That's a compliment, really.
thank you. That's the joy of it, though. You don't have to use your voice. You can just talk to yourself and nobody will know, and everything will be cool. But you can make that scene however you want it. If you know that you have to go out and do something really strenuous, you can go into that state and convince yourself that you are relaxed and calm and ready to take on whatever you have coming to you. And your subconscious mind will say, okay, I got it. We're going to do it. So it's not just for relaxation. It's for achieving other goals as well. But relaxation is, our goal for today. So I'm glad that I achieved my goal for today. It doesn't have to be for relaxation at all. Who was next? Who wanted to? Heather, did you have something to add? Oh, I'm sorry.
Shirley, go ahead. You raised your hand first. Go ahead.
Shirley.
No, I was just gonna say your voice. I hear what Gene is saying because your voice is so relaxing that you just want to go to sleep. Especially after a long day with a lot of people.
I'm
You just
really
want
sorry.
to
I'd like to apologize for my relaxing voice.
So I hear you, Gene. I was right with you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been told I have a very relaxing voice, but I'm working on it. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to get a little bass, but as I said, I don't always talk to my clients quite that relaxing. It depends, and when you're doing it for yourself, you're talking to yourself internally, so you don't have to worry about my voice putting you to sleep. You'll be able to hear your own voice, unless you just want to hear my voice in hypnosis. I don't care. But you're listening to your own internal voice. Okay. You're sort of talking to yourself, and it's actually okay. People won't think you're crazy because they won't know. But you can do this process. It's basically, you can call it visualization, you can call it mindfulness, you can call it self-hypnosis, you can call it closing your eyes and thinking. You can call it whatever you want. Okay, it all boils down to the same thing, a process where you're able to help yourself, where you're able to help others, just by simply accessing this state of your subconscious mind, the state of your being, the state that we are all in all the time and can always reach. Okay. So that was fun. Any Heather, next, go ahead.
Going to with what Jean and Shirley have said, I hear your voice when I talk to myself, when I try and do that. And I mean that in a nice way, because your voice is more relaxing and soothing than mine. Mine is, but that's okay.
Okay.
So it was a nice little mini vacation. So thank you.
You're welcome. And like I said, if you want to hear my voice, that's okay. Back in the day, I used to make audio recordings, on DVDs, and give them to people. And so I've sort of graduated to, digital downloads now, because I've had people who wanted to, take my voice home with them. So I started making the DVDs back in the day. And like I said, now I have digital downloads. So yeah, and it's not, well, the voice helps, but it's not always about the voice, I mean, I'm glad that I have a very relaxing voice. I've heard some people who haven't had quite relaxing voices, and believe it or not, the process still works. Even if you have a gravelly voice or a voice not as sexy as mine, the process will still work. So that's the joy of it, whether it's my voice or your voice or someone else's voice. It's not, I guess, I don't want to be cliche. It's not, how you say what you say. It's not how you say it, it's what you say, basically, Yeah.
So I have one other comment. For me, I think it's also, if I don't have to visualize, okay, there's purple flowers and green grass, if I don't have to think about it and I'm just hearing you say it, that's one less thing for me to think about and say, oh yeah, I do see the purple flowers or the red flowers or whatever it is. Whereas otherwise I'm like, well, what do I see? I don't know. So that helps me, just you giving me that automatic visuals. Anyway, that part that I don't have to think about.
Okay.
I
And
find it very helpful.
Okay, and that's why we have hypnosis and self-hypnosis, because there are a lot of people who can benefit from hypnosis, but they can't do the self-hypnosis for themselves. They need someone guiding them. That's why I told you guys at the beginning, I don't do hypnosis on anybody. I do it with them. I guide them through it. It's like I'm telling you a story. Because if this were a regular session and I were taking you somewhere like that, I wouldn't necessarily give you directions like that. I would ask you, what do you see? Okay. If I were taking you on a journey, okay, I did it that way today because we're in a group, and I could have had everybody, go out and, do their own thing. But I did it this way for a reason. But if I'm working with you one-on-one and I want to take you somewhere, I'm going to ask you, what do you see? What colors do you see? I mean, I'd ask you, where are we, first of all? Are you on a beach, or are you in the woods? You might be the type of person who likes to take walks in the forest. Okay. And that could be the place you wanted to go instead of a beach or a pond with a pebble and stuff. Everybody is so different. Yeah, in hypnosis, I don't tell people where to go or what to look at or what to enjoy. Okay, that was a demonstration that involved, just one place. I just wanted to give everybody that same place to see how everybody saw that place. I mean, somebody else surely could have saw the flowers as green and blue. You could have saw only purple flowers. Somebody else could have saw green flowers, but in hypnosis, when it's done properly, you find out what the client wants. You find out what the client is seeing, what the client is feeling. I would have asked you, so how does it feel walking down this path? As opposed to telling you, you feel really great walking down this path. You might have stepped on a rock. You could have got a pebble in your shoe. So I'm always going to ask my client, what do you feel? Where do you want to go? That's the basis for hypnosis. What you want, not what the hypnotist wants.
We have another person unmuted, Janelle.
Okay, and Janelle, did you have a question or comment?
Yes, actually, for me, an example that I appreciated was during that visualization where it took us, near the beach and so forth. I was actually reminded of years ago of a vacation that I had taken near a beach. And I remembered enjoying it a lot. So that in itself helped trigger like the relaxation part for me. One of the other things that I had experienced in that, think about it, a vacation. I remember riding horseback along the beach, and I remember that moment as being relaxing. And honestly, it's probably been years ago. I know it's been years ago, but that visualization demonstration that you gave for us helped me realize that it allowed me to tap into a memory of a relaxation time or moment in time, so there's a value to that. And I want to concur with what some of the others have commented. There's when we close our eyes, to me, that visualization becomes more real as well, like palpable, and how important, also as a side note, the breathing is, because along throughout life, I've learned and read that how that just our breathing allows us to help relax too. So there's some key points in your presentation that I appreciate, that affirm to me and make me realize, how valuable of a tool that can be, that it's a tool that's portable for each one of us to walk away with and realize, that we can, I'm suddenly thinking of the word de-stress, but obviously hypnosis certainly can be a catalyst. I'm understanding better how hypnosis can be a catalyst for that self-improvement, that we would seek. Most people probably would want to seek. But yeah, thank you. It's
All right.
there's a part of me I'm very curious to, I was curious about the presentation and curious about, certainly what it involves too. So I do appreciate that. I appreciate this time that you've taken. The awareness. Yeah, the awareness.
Well, thank you so much, Janelle. I appreciate that. And you brought up a lot of great points. The one about going back in time. Okay, a simple exercise like the one we just did today allowed her to regress back to a time when she was having that type of enjoyment. So that's another benefit of being able to access this state. As I said when we started, you can go back to old memories, or you can create new memories. She was able to go back to someplace she hasn't been in a long time. So that is amazing to hear. I am so glad that you enjoyed that and you were able to re-experience those memories. And now you know how easily you can go back to that place or create new places if you choose.
I do have another question, if I may.
That's great. Pardon me?
I do have another question, if I may.
Sure.
years ago, I remember a friend of our family's who was dealing with a lot of physical pain, a health condition, that the physical pain was not, he was not able to, get like a medical relief for it.
Mhm.
And I remember at that time that he was talking about wondering if hypnosis could help him with pain management. And so that's kind of my question to you. Do you know of either clients that you've had or situations to help us understand how hypnosis possibly could help with the physical pain, not just a mental pain, I think, but a physical pain?
All pain is mental pain because we experience it in our minds. Okay, the physical body is a shell. All pain is the same. And yes, to your question, hypnosis can help some people with, uh, creating less pain. Okay, I'm not saying that hypnosis can take away all pain. Okay, understand hypnosis can help with pain relief in certain situations, but it's a very slippery slope because you can't just help everybody who comes in and says they're in pain. Okay, because if you stop the pain, sometimes you don't know what the underlying condition could be. So we have to be very careful when we deal with clients to find out if they have a medical condition, if they are seeking treatment for said medical condition, and what the progress is there. If you believe that this client has a medical condition, you should get a release from a medical doctor. Okay, all ethical hypnotists will not work with a client who has an apparent condition, a condition that's apparently, medically related, unless they have a doctor's release. We can get sued just like doctors, but we are not doctors. Okay. If you have a chronic pain, you've been going to the doctor for 50 years and they pretty much written you off because there's nothing they can help you with, we can work with that, but if you come in, it's like my arm is hurting, help me. And I help you with some pain relief techniques and your arm feels better. And then you realize a week later that it's broken. That's not helping you or me, you know? Yeah, so it depends on the type of pain and whether or not they're under a doctor's care. There are things that we have to consider before working with pain clients, but I have worked with clients who have had chronic pain and I have had success because those clients believed in hypnosis and they believed that they could be helped. So they were helped. Okay. You can't come in with the wrong attitude thinking hypnosis is a miracle cure. But if you believe that you can heal, you will be able to alleviate pain with hypnosis. I use it on myself all the time because I hate even taking aspirin for a headache. So I will trance out or self hypnosis or whatever pain technique I have to do to avoid taking medications. After my surgeries, I use self hypnosis so I didn't have to take pain medications. So the process does work, Janelle. Okay, but like I said, there's circumstances. You don't just grab anybody and say, okay, I'll get rid of this pain, I'll get rid of that pain. So we have to be careful who we work with and what we're working with them for. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure. And if you have any more questions, maybe we can talk later in detail. Okay.
Alrighty, thanks.
Sure. Okay. More questions, comments, please. This is the way I wanted this program to go. I want your questions. I know about hypnosis. You don't. So you bring me your question. I want everybody to ask all those questions, all those things you wonder. I wonder if, all those bad movies you've seen on television or at the theater. Oh my God. When that one movie came out, the movie Get Out. if you haven't seen it or heard of it, good. But it's a really bad movie about hypnosis. Okay, yeah, if you haven't seen it, don't look for it, don't watch it. But in my book, it was a really bad movie for hypnotists, for our trade. And there are a lot of movies like that. You know, people see these movies and they think they know what hypnosis is. They don't. Okay, because that movie, it showed some truthful facts about hypnosis, but it showed even more non-truthful facts about hypnosis. And all people are going to see are the ones that they want to believe, of course. Yes, Jean. Mhm.
Unmute. Okay.
Thank you.
Two things happened now that I'm getting more unfoggy from that little down the path thing that you gave
Okay.
us. The first thing is that I had leg pain when I first sat down, and I noticed that kind of went away. And the other
Awesome.
thing is I've seen you even do self hypnosis to energize yourself, which now I don't feel quite so sleepy either. So yeah, those are two things that happened in that little journey wherever we went. But yeah, so it this is pretty fun. Thanks.
Well, good. I'm glad your legs are feeling better, Jean. I really am. Yeah, I mean that happens, you know. I mean, you told your body for that 10 or 15 minutes to relax. You released all of that strain, all of that anxiety. And in the days to come, if it comes back, try the same process. Take yourself wherever you want to go. You know, I'm glad it worked. I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you. I'm here to help. Anybody else? Shirley, did you have something or no? Kim, my worthy assistant. Okay. All right, cool. No more questions. Well, I'm sorry. Did somebody have something? Did somebody say something? Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't stepping on top of anybody there. Okay. All right, cool. I believe I'm hearing an echo.
Oh, that's sure. Hold on.
Okay, she's muted
Okay,
now.
she just, nope, now she's unmuted.
Oh.
She's back. You have a
Okay,
question, girl?
did you want to say something?
Oh, I just said thanks. That was pretty good. I'm ready to go to bed now, though. I'm kinda
Okay.
sleepy.
All right, for those of you on the East Coast and it's your bedtime, thank you for joining.
She can't go to bed, we got a meeting.
Yeah, but no, but actually tonight turned out to be what I wanted it to be. I wanted to be able to share with you guys hypnosis, how I see hypnosis, how I enjoy hypnosis, how I use hypnosis, and take all the fears and the lies out of the equation, you know? I get so sick of hearing people say they're afraid of hypnosis. You know, they're afraid of going into trance. And, you know, it's like, and I don't argue with them because they're misinformed. I try to inform them. That's all I can do. And if I don't try to change their minds, I just give them facts. And if they don't want to accept those facts, I can accept that. But along the way, if I can help people, if I come across people who actually take the time to learn, to believe, to experiment, basically. And it's something you can do on your own. You don't have to experiment with a hypnotist. You can experiment all on your own just by going inside, just by going inside your own mind, your own imagination. I think the imagination is the most powerful part of our being, you know? Without it, we're nothing, you know? Life would be pretty damn boring if we couldn't use our imagination. So yeah, it's almost 8. And like I said, I really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you are interested, I already have all your email addresses, I believe, because you registered for my program. And upcoming this year, I will be very busy. As I stated before, I will be speaking at 2 hypnosis conferences. The first is in 2 weeks. It's in January, and it will actually be an online conference. And I will be doing my presentation, parallel hypnosis and martial arts, the parallel universes. In July of this year, I will be speaking at the Hypno Thoughts Live Convention in Las Vegas. And that's one of the largest hypnosis conferences in the world. Okay. And like I said, I finally came out of my shell. I finally discovered who I was. I finally, went through enough hypnosis processes to come out and do what I'm supposed to be doing, I guess. So I have these 2 conferences lined up and looking for more, planning more classes. I'm going to do several self-hypnosis classes this year. So if anybody's interested in getting deeper into self-hypnosis, okay, I'll be doing group classes, so they'll be reasonable. I'll be doing more talks in my neighborhood, in other neighborhoods, online. I plan to be very active this year. So if you are not on my email list, get on it. Okay? You don't want to miss out. That FOMO. But realistically, really, I am so glad for every one of you that decided to join me tonight, so that I could share my love of hypnotism with you. And I hope you've learned something tonight, something that you can take away and use on your own. And I hope you stay in touch with me. I send out very few emails unless I'm having an event. I try to get my newsletter out once a month. I did pretty good last year. I think I actually got out 1 newsletter for each of the 12 months. Yay me. Okay. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about getting a lot of spam or junk mail if you're on my email list, because I don't have time to write it. Okay. But but you will be kept apprised of all of my activities for this year, so we can join together on more cool Zoom meetings like this, or who knows, maybe even an in-person event somewhere. Okay. Well, it's a little shy of 8 o'clock, so I don't think any of you will hold it against me if we, leave early here. Because my sister all the way from the East Coast has to get to bed. No, I know it's not her bedtime yet, but yeah, so one final time, if there are any more questions, comments, suggestions, criticisms, keep those to yourself. No, just kidding. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. It's been a great World Hypnotism Day for me. And hope to see you again next year doing this, but hope to see you sooner than that, maybe on a hypnotic note. Okay. All right. So thank you all again. Have an enjoyable evening and an amazing year.